Yes? Hello? Hi. Yeah, there we go. Now my microphone's working. I think I put it a little close to my mouth this time, so we're going to turn it down just a scotch. Hope everybody's having a great morning. Hope you're all doing okay out there. You've caught me. Turn the volume down here just a little bit. You've caught me in the middle of some necromancy. And not just because I'm painting mummies and zombies. So, I have this paint here, which was going to be my base coat layer. It's a Rackhearth Flesh, Games Workshop. And it's kind of this like sickly gray, fleshy sort of tone. And I could probably mix something like it, but I wanted to use it. But as you can see, it's quite lumpy. And we don't want it to be quite so lumpy. So I'm trying to bring it back to life. So the good news is it's not solid. But the bad news is that it's still it's still a little too thick to paint with. So what I've done so far, I put a couple of mixing balls in there, which haven't really done anything. Yeah, not quite so lumpy. It's very good, Alec. So I've added some paint thinner to this as well, or some airbrush thinner. I'm going to add a little bit more, just a scotch, just a few more drops. Good morning. How are you today, friend? Hope you're doing fantastic. And then we're going to add a little bit of this Lamia medium to it. All right. Come along now. There we go. So we got all that. Now, got the gumbo here. Now we're going to give it a little stirry stir. And as you can see, the paint's starting to come back already. And I'm going to chuck in an old vortex mixer. And then we should be good to go. You're welcome, buddy. I tend to I post in both of our Discords every time I go live. All right. Check it in the old vortex mixer. All right. So now it should be relatively creamy. Yep. There we go. See? Necromancy. I brought this dead paint back from the dead. Okay. So we're going to be using that one later. I wanted to make sure that it was good for now. But we're going to begin painting our mummies. So we have several of these. This is going to be another batch painting job. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mummies to paint. And then we have zombies, who are these fellows here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those to paint. So I'm going to paint them using similar colors. especially on their flesh. So that's why I'm doing them both at the same time. But there's going to be a couple of big differences in the base coating and the tone of their flesh. So we're going to start the mummies. We're going to start their skin underneath all their lovely wrappings here, which I need to skip forward just a touch. You can see plenty of their skin showing out of these little, from underneath their mummy wrappings. So we're going to paint that. And the first thing we're going to paint those is we're going to paint them Berserker Red. This is a very dark red. That's going to do a great job as creating sort of like a desiccated feeling skin tone underneath. Good Lord. I'm getting so many alerts from homes.com telling me that there are certain houses in my area for sale. Just like, I'm not looking for one just right now, so stop. Stop asking me. Or stop alerting me, rather. So the trick to this one is going to be picking out what's bandages and what's flesh. Oh my God. Yeah, it looks pretty good. I like how all the mummies in HeroQuest are doing this walk like an Egyptian pose. Na 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 na. Walk like an Egyptian. swear I'm uninstalling this app, or at least turning off notifications, because they're sending me so many right now. It's absolutely obnoxious. It wouldn't bother nearly as much if I wasn't using my phone as a camera. Okay. I think that's where all the flesh on the zombies are. Zombies? The mummies are. Nothing in particular. No section in particular. This is just a fresh batch painting deal. I just spent the last times I did 3 character models, and these are the rest of the undead that I have to paint. So I am trying to get as much progress as I can on them today. I do not think I will finish them today, but I don't know if I'll even get close to finishing them today, but mostly it's just I want to get as much progress as I can on them. Oh my god, can I please just stop this? There. It's really annoying because I keep getting pinged about there's a new home for sale, new home for sale, new home for sale. I'm just like, stop. This is by far the least exciting part, I think, is laying down these base coats. Because at this point, you're kind of like, okay, what's this thing gonna be even? You don't even know really like where it's gonna go from here. I do because I have it in my head, but you, the viewer, don't know. It'll be a fun surprise, though. Because all you guys are thinking is, oh, this guy's painting mummy skin red? What's going on with that? Why are you painting mummy skin red? Well, I have a plan. I think that the good news is that when I finish all these mummies, I will have a big chunk of my like monster minis painted. Hang on. I have to stop this. I have to turn off notifications on this stupid website. Because I'm getting 500,000 of them. I get 75 notifications from this single app. What is going on? There. Turned off notifications. Sorry about that. That was absolutely obnoxious. Oh my God. Okay. That was more than just a little annoying. So there's, I had 75 notifications from a single app. And it just kept on buzzing. And there were more coming in. I'm not even looking for a new house right now. I just like to browse every so often. And say, oh, look, there's this house for sale. That looks nice. But I think we all do that. I think we all occasionally just browse real estate listings online. And dream. Yeah, it's wrapped. I'm sorry, I was looking at a piece of it. I was like, that I hadn't painted on another model. I was like, is that wrapping or is that flesh? I couldn't really tell, but I think it's wrapping. Yeah, no, I get that. The housing market, when it comes to pricing, believe it or not, is actually a little bit better now. I mean, houses are still expensive, make no mistake, but they're honestly not as bad as they were. The COVID market was absolutely insane. And that's when we were buying a house, and we were lucky to get the one that we did. Because people were buying up houses left and right. Like as soon as something came on the market, it would go off in like a second. Like it would be sold within a couple of days. It was a seller's market for sure. And you couldn't really negotiate because our sellers knew that, like, oh, as soon as if this one person doesn't take my doesn't, like, you know, accept my offer, then like, you know, somebody else will, and they'll just I can buy this up in like a second. And people were like offering above asking price in order to get houses because it was such a competitive market. But it has definitely calmed down. At least has in my area. But yeah, houses ain't cheap, that's for sure. Yeah, 250K is actually pretty good for a house. It sounds ridiculous, but actually that's pretty cheap for a house nowadays. In our area, a house our size, I mean that it's like there were houses on our street that are very similar to our house that were up for sale for over $300,000. And they're pretty comparable to ours, but yep, it's a wild, wacky world if you want to own a home. That's for sure. Ahoy hoy donated. Welcome to the party zone. Painting mummies right now. Zombies are next on the list. How are you this morning, Zonated? Welcome back. Glad to see you. This is the only way I can talk to my friends, I guess. Oh, very nice. Look at you in your watch streak. Very nice. You'll love to hear it. Cool, cool, cool. Painting mummies always reminds me of Thundercats and Mum-Ra, the Ever-Living. Does anybody remember that? Mumra, the ever living. Just me, I guess. Yeah, when I was a kid, I always wanted the Thundercats to fight Mumra, but they never quite got there. At least I don't ever remember the Thundercats fighting Mumra. Ooh! Be gone, bot. This is the last mummy of this pose that I have to paint. I'm doing the mummies first just because they're a little more complicated when it comes to like where the flesh and stuff is on them. The zombies are going to be super easy when it comes to their flesh, because it's pretty obvious where the zombie flesh is. Oops. I was getting a little too high up there. Zummy and Mombi. Yep. The mummies in HeroQuest, they're probably, like, combat-wise, they're probably the toughest of the just straight-up undead units in the base game. So skeletons are the weakest. And zombies are just one tier above that. And mummies are another tier above that one. So the mummies are a little bit tougher, like, health-wise. And they hit a little bit harder, and they can defend a little bit harder. If you see one, you're not really like, oh shit, but you have a... You have a little bit of a fight on your hands if you can't take care, if you don't roll well to begin with. They can stick around. This is our alternate sculpt for the mummies. It's this is a lady mummy. You can tell from her truthful hips. And she was originally exclusive to the Mythic Edition of the Kickstarter, HasLab campaign, whatever you want to call it. And now she's available in another one of the sets, I believe. But she's pretty cool. The flesh on her is in different places. Also looks like she might have some sort of necklace. Yeah, the desiccated midriff wrappings don't lie. Yeah, you can actually... She actually doesn't have it exposed midriff, which is interesting. But she is quite curvaceous for a mummy. And just look at those. Very hippie for a mummy. Alright, just one more of these. I've only got 2 of this type of mummy. All right. You burb. I think that's it. Alright, so that's all the mummies with the red on them. Now we're gonna do the zombies. But the zombies, they're not gonna have red on their base. They're going to have blue, cold corpse blue. It's going to give a different effect when I put the skin on top of it. And I'm leaving some of those more recessed details black. Just because I don't want to blow out all the detail on this miniature. I also like how this guy only has one shoe. It's pretty great. All right, so that's one down. All right, that's 2. All right. Just 2 more of this pose of zombie. There we go. And this is the last of our standard pose zombies, and then we have two unique pose, or not unique, but two alternate pose zombie minis. They were also part of the mythic tier. Initially, but I believe you can get them now somewhere in one of the newer quest packs. I think you can get the zombies, whether it's in the Prophecy of Telor or the Spirit Queen's Awakening. I think you can get those alternate zombie and skeletons and skeletons, but also mummies. Alrighty, so that's all of our base pose zombies done. Now we have two of the alternate pose, which are these lovely ladies here, holding their rusty knives. I'm just trying to... I hadn't really taken a long look at these minis before, because I just play with them, in the game. But it's not like when I play with them in the game, I stop and stare at them I wonder what the deal is with this lady and her knife. It's an interesting concept because you're supposed to be adventuring through a dungeon or whatever. So she kind of looks like she might have been an adventurer if you look at her outfit. Because it's not really a dress, it's more like it looks somewhat combat oriented. So in my mind, all the undead that you find in the dungeon are just fallen heroes and adventurers that have got in over their heads and died. And then we're raised through the dark sorcery of Zargon. Or the Witch Lord, depending on where you are. Her face is pretty decayed. It's pretty gross. Love it. All right, so that's her done. And then we got one more of these ladies. The biggest complaint about these miniatures is the knives get bent constantly. And I know that you can do something with hot water to like bend them back into shape. So I might try to do that. I think it's safe if you seal the minis with varnish after you've painted them. You don't want to use like boiling water, of course. You just want to dip them in hot water and then like hold it in place. Is my understanding. Whoop. Yeah, from what I understand, that's what it does. Is it doesn't necessarily reconstitute it, but it like makes it more malleable, and like you can, and when you like mold it in that state, it's more likely to stay in that position because they are just plastic. They're very soft plastic at the end of the day. And when you heat plastic, it becomes moldable, so. All right. Just both of the alternate sculpt zombies done. Now, we begin the flesh. So this is the paint that I brought back from the dead at the beginning of the stream. Hopefully I brought it back from the dead successfully, so gonna give it a shot. So this is Rakarth flesh, and this is sort of a desiccated, not desiccated, but like a very matte flesh color. I'm gonna put this on over the red and blue. But we're going to leave the recesses those red colors. And if all goes according to plan, that is if this paint isn't completely fucked, when it dries, you should still be able to see some of that red coming through. And on the mummies, the skin will look nice and old and desiccated. And on the zombies, it'll look cold and bloated, and it'll be a good base of the glaze I'm going to put on them later. It's a little bit of an experiment. But, you know, that's half the fun of miniature painting, is experimenting. So I think I'm gonna do a test model just to make sure I don't completely fuck this. So we'll do one test zombie and one test mummy. So that'll be our test mummy. What's what doing? I can't hold anything today. Okay. So I'm adding 2 thin coats of this particular color because one is not really doing, or is not really making it look like skin. It's a little too thin. So we want it to look like dead skin. I like the way it, I really do like the way it looks on the zombie, actually. More so than the mummy, but the mummy, we'll see how it turns out. It's good. You're not gonna notice this. I wanted the skin to be a different color than the wrapping around the mummy. So you'll see a big difference there once the wrappings are painted on the mummy. It does kind of look gross and desiccated. Or gross and decaying. The paint isn't exactly doing what I want it to do because it's kind of old. Just not really behaving how I want it to. Let's see if I can mix some of my own. See if I can match that flesh tone. So I've got some plenty of options here. So I'm going to try mixing ash gray and elven skin together. Let's see if that'll give us a nice dead looking skin tone. Because I don't know if this is it, because it's drying really like mottled looking. It's not going on smooth. So we're going to try a little bit of experimentation. Huh? Oh yeah, that's easy. A little bit more gray to this. Oh, yeah. I think that'll do. It's close. Probably close enough. That's much better. Because you still get a little bit of that flesh tone. There we go. I think that's about the color I was looking for. A slightly flesh-toned, lighter coat on top of that blue to kind of make it look like dead skin. Like I said, I think the mummies are going to be just a little trickier because you're not going to be able to see really the full effect until their bindings are are painted. But it's important to get the right paint and the right like consistency, because I got more of these guys to paint. So once I get that down, I can go ahead and move on to the other ones and make sure they look good. Yeah, they all look kind of spooky. All right. So we'll do that. We'll move on to another mummy. Send another mummy down. Let's do another zombie. Ugh.
Promises just
2 thin coats is the order of the day. Okay. Very creepy looking. All right. I'm gonna do a second thin coat on this guy as well. Just because I think that he probably needs it as well. Okay. All right. Okay, so now I have a highlight that I'm going to use. Hopefully it will work. This sounds pretty creamy. We're going to use pallid witch flesh. So this is going to be the next step to, oh, this is completely unopened. No wonder it works. Okay. So I'm going to add this to the skin to highlight some of the raised areas. And then I'm going to use for my final step. And that's when I'm going to need some audience. By audience, I mean chat participation, because I want to know some opinions on things. Because this has all been a clever setup to me doing an experiment. You see I've chosen these very vaguely flesh colors and very bright or white, almost white highlights for a reason. And that is because I am going to do this step on all of them, but after I complete this step, and I have all these fleshy colors laid out, I'm going to glaze. Glaze? Yeah, probably a glaze. Them a different color. So it all sort of blends together. And once I get that figured out, that'll be the skin tone. 100%. And I'll repeat that same process on each one. And there'll be one that's a little different, but that is okay. I kind of like this color on the zombie. It doesn't really look like zombie skin though. It looks more like It looks more like vampire skin. If there was a vampire in HeroQuest, I would paint it this color. But I do really like the way that this color came out with the blue undercoat. The mummy actually doesn't look too bad either. It's just hard to tell because they're so covered. Hey, Layla. What question was I gonna ask after this? Well, the question is going to be which of the glazes that I'm gonna use look better. That's the question, Alec. It's a little cheeky experiment here. What options? Well, I'll let you know when I when I get them. But I'm thinking that for the zombies, we're gonna have green and blue, and for the mummies, we're gonna it'll be a choice between brown and a sepia tone. Me and the woman. Yes, we are. I'm going to be choosing two different glazes for these zombies, and mummies because I want to know which skin tone looks better. I just need to do the highlights on this last mummy, and then we'll do the two. And then after I do the glazes, we'll do the comparison. How are you enjoying Stranger Things, Zonated? I really like this first batch of new episodes. Intrigued to see where it goes from here. Okay. So we've got all of our highlights done. Ooh, okay. So are you catching up or are you just rewatching? Oh, you never watched it until now. Okay. Wow. Well, what do you think of the series? Like as a whole. All right, we'll do the zombies first because they're pretty much ready to go. Actually, I've seen some spots I think I missed on this one. Good, I'm glad you like it. I liked it the first time I saw it. Still like it now. So, good. It'd be really interesting to re-experience it for the first time, that's for sure. All right, so let's see what we got here. I know I have the shade I'm looking for. I have to find it. There it is. Okay. So for these mummies and for... Yes, I love Eddie. Eddie is great. Rom. Hi, Rom. You're just in time to make decisions. All right, so for this first one, I'm going to be taking Drakenhof Nightshade. I'm going to thin it down with some Lamia Medium. It's already a wash. Why does it need to be thinned down? Well, I just don't want the color to be as crazy as it is. So I'm thinning it down. So that it's not so that the color isn't so in your face. So this is going to be our blue. That's much better. Okay. Maybe a bit more color. It's a little too subtle. Hello, dear.
Hi. I'm just gonna go. Penny's messing with the computer. I'm not tuned you for our lunch.
Okay, hold on. Let me just mute my microphone so the internet doesn't hear us have our conversation. Okay, I'm back. My wife was just asking me what we wanted to do for lunch today. All right, yeah, this is about the color I wanted. So this is a little bit of a blue glaze. So we'll let that dry. I was not discussing what kind of dragon I was going to adopt. And then this one will be more of a green, so we're going to use a Thonian camo shade. Probably just a little bit of Lamia medium. This is more of an earthy green. Okay, so we got those two are done. I'm gonna let them dry in just a second. Just call it blue and green. Don't go too crazy. And this one's gonna have a Seraphim Sepia and where are you? I thought I had you out here already. I probably don't. Okay. I may not have it. Oh no, I do. Okay, cool. So for these ones, I think I'm gonna go with a heavier wash. So for the first one, we'll do a bit of we'll do a sepia tone. Come on. I forgot to do the heel for that one. It's okay. We'll repaint it as wrappings later. Okay, that's the sepia. And the last one is going to be just straight up brown. Agrax Earthshade. Oh no, wait. I just added more sepia for some reason. I am a brilliant man sometimes. I'm also thinking about going to make lunch in just a second. Alright, this is Agrax Earthshade. This will probably be the most subtle one out of all of them. Ah. Okay. I think I got all of that. All right. So we're going to let that one dry. Now, Alec. You're up, buddy. So we have, for the zombies, blue and green, or if you want to get super technical about it, we've got Drakenhof Nightshade and Athonian Camo Shade. So here they are. Blue is on the right, green is on the left. Which one of these two zombies looks more dead and gross? Which color do you think suits it better? It's amazing how different they are, isn't it? So cast your votes. Which glaze for the zombies? Green or blue? You knew yours from the start, huh? Let's see what's going on. So we've got one vote for blue. That's the only vote. Green or blue. Green or blue. We've got blue, bloated, desiccated zombies, or green, infected, weird-looking zombies. So far, we've still only got one vote. They are both very disgusting. Well, looks like Drakenhof Nightshade's our winner with one vote. Well, here's what I'll do in order to make it fair. So it's not just Alec unilaterally deciding everything. I'll post some pictures on the Blue Wizard Minis Discord channel and see what the folks on there said. So we'll get a little bit more of a hive mind thing for the folks who don't tune into the stream. So okay, so lastly we just have these two here. These are the Mummies. So Alec, we have Seraphim Sepia on the left here. And then on the right we have Agrax Earthshade, which is brown. The one on the right is very subtle. But the one on the left you see is a little bit more yellowy. I know which one I'm leaning towards, but I want to know what you all think. Seraphim Sepia or brown Agrax Earthshade? Oh, we're 50-50. One for each. It's a very subtle difference, yes. Do 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 do. Hydrate, streamer. I don't have any. Well, I do have some. I have a seltzer over here. Ah. Oh, I actually needed that. Thank you. I've forgotten to drink. Well, folks, it looks like we have a tie. Well, I'll do the same thing with these two. I'll throw up some pictures on the Blue Wizard channel on the Different Dice Discord and see what folks on there have to say as well. But I'm going to go ahead and call this stream because we are, I need to go make some lunch for my family. And we've been going for a couple of hours, and I'm going to post those pictures up on the Different Dice Discord server and see what folks have to say. Not that I don't respect the polls. It's just a wider audience might be a little nicer. But yeah. So I'm going to go do that, and we'll continue on painting these guys with whatever scheme we decide next time. But I'm really happy with the amount of progress that we made on them. So we got all the base coating down for the skin and stuff. And I know how I'm going to paint the skin and skin highlights. Now it's just a matter of the glaze. So once we get that figured out, we'll have a whole system, and it'll be a lot of fun. So let me know what you think. And yeah, I will see you in the next one, folks. Bye-bye.